And today we are doing an important component of your prep strategy for the XAT 2020 exam. And we are doing a session on decision making. I've already taken a couple of sessions earlier over the last couple of days on strategy for that, as well as for on quantitative aptitude for that, and you can have a look at those sessions over the next. You can have a look at those sessions if you want specific inputs from me about your prep process for the QA part of the ZAD exam. And welcome everyone who's attending this. Welcome to this lesson where we are talking about decision making. Now, as you know, decision making is one of the critical sections of the ZAT, simply because of the fact that if you look at the decision making section, it's the only section in the ZAT which is different from what you have prepared for the CAT. So when you talk about verbal ability, reading comprehension, you talk about quantitative aptitude, you talk about data interpretation. These areas, the preparation is what the preparation you did for the CAT and for any other aptitude test will directly get downloaded into the ZAT prep also. But when you talk about decision making, it's something which is completely new and has to be one of the principal focuses of preparation during your journey between taking the CAT and going to the ZAT. So we're looking at a few sample questions in today's session, and the first question, and that's the best way actually to look at what decision making is all about, because of the fact that if you're serious about the ZAT and you're serious about preparing for the decision making section, you need exposure to around 200 250 questions, high quality questions on decision making, so that you get the perspective. And as I'm going to show you, the decision making perspective of solving a question is very different from the normal reading comprehension or critical reasoning perspective. Why I'm saying that is because when you talk about decision making, there are two kinds of decision making questions: logical and quantitative. Quantitative, of course, as the name itself suggests, has some numerical information in it. So there's some bit of data interpretation, some bit of reasoning in it, which with numbers. But logical, when you talk about, it's basically a managerial situation, an administrative situation where you have to take a call and not treat it like an RC subject, but treat it from a decision making perspective. And the difference in the decision making perspective is essentially that when you talk about decision making, every decision that you take has an objective. Whenever you take a decision, you're driving down a road, you take a decision to take a right turn, you have an objective for the decision. So every case that you will see uh, in the ZAT past year papers, and one of the principal sources, the primary source of your preparation should be the ZAT past year papers. Look at the last 10 years papers, look at the last 15 years papers, and you have to know every question and the thought process behind getting to the right answer. What kind of thought process they need, because many times you might feel that this is a better thing to do, but since you're preparing for an exam where there's an exact correct answer, the best way to prepare for it is to know that there's a special objective, or there's a special structure through which you think in those questions, right? So without any further ado, let's start off with some questions here. And the first question, as you can see here, is this one. I want you to go through this question, or maybe we can go through it together. And the question says, due to increased competition, Electro Automobiles, the Indian subsidiaries of Ropert Automobile Company, reported lower sales and profit. RAC expects its new model limo, developed especially for value conscious customers, Just give me a second. Just read through this. RSC expects its new model Limo, developed especially for value conscious customers of India and China, would revive its fortunes. So part of the problem in this case, as you start noting down stuff in your mind, obviously you'll not do this physical way of noting, but part of the problem here, what we see is that RSC has this problem that RSC's fortunes are in need of revival. So its fortunes are sagging. In order to prevent customers from buying competing products, RSC announced the launch of Limo 6 months ahead of schedule. Unrest in its Indian supplier resulted in delayed delivery of essential components to its main plant. So the Indian supplier has unrest and it's causing delivery delays. So that's part of the problem. Whenever you do a decision making case, from the problem solving perspective, you have to understand what the problem is. Only then do you get the objective straight. Hence, Limo was launched on schedule only in China. Within a short span, Limo captured 30% of the Chinese market, which was 200% higher than expectation. So, what is very clearly seen is that the company has a winner in this product. Indian customers were becoming increasingly restless because they couldn't get a Limo in India. Electros dealers were worried customers might switch to other cars. So the case is pretty simple, and you will see one more thing in all that cases, that there is very high degree of contemporariness in these cases. There's a very high degree of contemporariness in these cases. So very contemporary cases, in the sense that you will see in that something you've been reading in the newspapers around you, something like that is included inside the ZAT immediately. So, for example, last year in the ZAT there was a case about a sport whose top performers in the country, a sport which was very popular in the country, and whose top performers did not want to come under drug testing. And you were the sports, or you had to think from the perspective of the sports minister. And this case was directly taken out from the Indian cricket teams and the BCCI's resistance to the WADA guidelines of anti-drug testing agency of the World Athletic Body. And there was a huge standoff between the Indian government, which wanted the cricketers to be tested, and the BCCI and the cricketers who did not want to give their schedules. So there was a case on that. During the Anna Hazare movement, the year the Anna Hazare movement happened in Delhi, there was a case on a crusader, this thing. So you'll see a lot of contemporary issues, things that you have read in the newspaper. So you'll not be immune to cases which are happening. Of course, there are cases based on factories and industries. So those are also there, but those will also be something which is happening around you. Maybe you'll not get to read about those in the newspapers, but you will definitely see some component of it happening in the industry around you. So let's come back to this, to what is being said. The Indian subsidiary is concerned that the delay in launching the product will give undue advantage to some competitor. The organization was considering the following strategies. The organization was considering the following strategies to keep consumers engaged with the company. So there are 5 strategies here that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 strategies actually. But before you start doing this, before you start reading the strategies, you have to first focus on what is the objective, because what strategy you will decide will depend on the objective you are doing for the case. So the question is, which of the following combination of responses above will most likely keep the prospective customers engaged? So understand the objective here. You want to keep the prospective customers engaged. This is with the company and not jump to some competitor's product. And you're looking for the best case option there. So, with that perspective, if you start reading, what is mentioned in the this thing, your perspective is clear here. Your perspective is clear here. The perspective is you want to keep the prospective customers engaged, and you want to engage them for what reason? You want to engage them for the reason that that no there's been a delay in your there's been a delay in the product. Now, when you start reading this, you want to engage the prospective customers. The decision perspective is very clear. And when you start reading this, you start ruling out the obvious things that you will not do. So, for example, if you look at the first course of action, one first action, ask the dealers to encourage prospective customer to seek similar products from the competition rather than wait for Limo's launch. This is clearly against the objective. You can't have an objective like this in such a situation. Obviously, because this is against what your company requires. You want the question to be slightly larger. I'll try to do that. Look at the first course of action. I've increased the size of the questions, or maybe I'll do one thing. I'll take the questions onto this side and the writing pad here, because I don't need much of a writing pad in this situation. And also do this. I think this sorts out the issue, right? So the first aspect, the first thing, if you're doing this, you're going against the company's objectives. So you can't do this clearly. So any course of action that includes one as part of it will be rejected. So very clearly, you can reject 1 and 4. You can't be saying that we'll drive the customers away in this case. So now you're between 3 to 5, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4. So you will obviously go ahead and try to read the next part. It's fine, Robert. It's fine. You don't need to thank me for that. Thank you for letting me know what the problem was on the this thing, on the view side of this thing. So obviously now we have to look at the other reactions. Now 2, if you look at 2, you are telling the dealers to accept booking for Limo. You announce the launch within 6 months of booking, and in reality you plan to keep postponing launch indefinitely. So if you look at 2 again, you will realize that this is not something you should do, because this is being dishonest with your customer. And being dishonest with the customer, although it might give you short term benefits, as a company which is investing in a country for a long term, it's a car industry company, it's a car production company. If you start playing with your customers by lying to them, how long are you going to be able to maintain your brand in that situation? Hence, two will be rejected as a course of action, and any option having two will get removed. So you have very clearly only one option working, which has to be the correct answer. Now, if you take the positive direction, I mean, of course, this was the negative way of solving it. Yes, 3, 4, 5 is the only option left. And you'll realize that XAT के जो decision making questions हैं, they are very simple. The perspective is very simple. It's just a read and react situation. There's no comprehension as such. Just the perspective of decision making has to be included in your thinking. That's it. So if you look at 3, that's a good thing to do. You need to postpone the launch indefinitely, while at the same time you want to, I mean, remember the perspective of the decision. The objective of the decision is you want to keep the prospective customers engaged. So the objective is very clear. So 3 is a very clear thing to do. You keep putting up newspaper ads in the papers every month, and keep waiting, keep your prospective customer engaged. Let them sweat up a little bit कि गाड़ी कब आ रही है. People wait for cars. 4th is also okay. You want to do it fast. You skim the market by saying that, okay, if you want to pay a little bit more, we are allowed. We are ready to give you this product. ठीक है, instead of a 10 lakh car, it will become a 13 lakh car, 30% premium. Goes this thing, you'll still have customers at that level, right? Now again, 5 or 6 को देखो. 6, 5 में क्या, what is right? 3, 4, 5 is obvious the answer, because option में 3, 4, 5 ही है. But I also need to show you the positive way of looking at why 5, why not 6. So can you think of why should we use 5 and not 6? Or from another angle, if there was a 3, 4, 5 in the options and a 3, 4, 6 in the options, would you take 3, 4, 6 instead of 3, 4, 5? And why not 3, 4, 5? Why not 3, 3, 4, 6 if you'll still stick to 3, 4, 5? यहाँ पे तो ऑप्शन में नहीं है, लेकिन अगर if you still stick to 3, 4, 5, would you why would you stick to 3, 4, 5? What's wrong with 6? Can you think of that? Can anybody talk about it in the chat? There's a very clear reason why 6 will not work, and you'll still stick to 3, 4, 5. Very clear reason why I'll stick to 3, 4, 5 and not go to 3, 4, 6. Yes, exactly, Likit. Very good. The case has very clearly said that unrest in its Indian supplier resulted in delayed delivery of essential components. So when unrest happens in a supplier's factory, what happens? Unrest will happen within in the management or in the workers. Obviously, the workers. Unrest will obviously happen inside the workers, and 5 is directly offering workers a bonus, where 6 is giving more incentive to the supplier plant. It's not addressing the issue. The unrest is happening from the workers side, and if you go for giving a benefit to the supplier plant, obviously the unrest is between the plant management and the employees, and you are siding with the plant and giving more margin share It's going to be a waste of your money. And hence 346 will not work and 345 will be the right answer there. Let's look at the second question now. Mr. Murugan from Chennai experienced the comfort of limo during his visit to China. He was willing to deposit an approximate price of limo to buy the first available unit from Mr. Ahmed, a dealer in Chennai. Electro Automobile is yet to announce the actual price and the process for allocation of vehicles. Which of the following is the best option for Ahmed? So, who's Ahmed? Ahmed is the dealer in Chennai. And Murugan is ready to deposit an approximate price to buy the first available unit. And the key is also that part of the case is also that Electro Automobile is yet to announce the actual price and the process for allocation. So Ahmed का best option क्या है? Now Ahmed being a dealer, he is inside his primary objective is to increase his business. With what objective will Ahmed take this decision? He's sitting there in his showroom for business, and business is coming to him. The only thing he needs to make sure that his liability for taking that business should not be because he's fooled a customer. So what we can rule out clearly is not collect the amount, because this is against his business objectives. He has to improve his revenues. पैसा मिल रहा है क्यों नहीं लेगा? The moment the person pays the money, he's stuck to that vehicle. But the only thing is, Ahmed's concern has to be that he has to take care of the fact that he does not fool the customer. Right? One is gone because when the customer is ready to pay the full amount, why will you take 50% of the amount? There's no reason for that. And it also does not address the communication you need to make with the customer while taking the money. Whether you're taking 100 rupees or 1000 rupees or 5 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees, your communication has to be right. So 2 does not work. 3 is unethical because you are fooling the customer. 4 is very clearly the answer. Yes, Likhit, that's the correct answer. 4 is very clearly the answer, because if you collect the entire amount from Mr. Murugan, is willing to deposit, along with the clarifying that the delivery and price is subject to company policy, it's not in my hands. So that's not something that you can hold me accountable for. So 4 is very clearly the right answer here. And nothing is close. Collect the amount and transfer it to the account of Electro Automobiles. Completely illogical thought. Again. Let's do one more case. We have 5 minutes more. So let's do one more case. Divya grew up in a business family in Hyderabad. Then I've got a session tomorrow. Yeah, advance payments, when the customer is ready to give the full payment, Joseph, why will you not take the full payment? Why will you take only 50% advance? Right? And the other problem with 50% advance there, I think you're confused between option 1 and 4. So I'll just repeat that. Option 1 does not communicate anything. It just says that collect the money. Got that? Good. So let's look at this case. We'll do a couple of questions in this, and we will move on to the other questions tomorrow. I also need to talk to you about Unacademy Plus and my courses coming up on that before I wind up. So Divya grew up in a business family in Hyderabad. As a systems engineer, she traveled extensively to business deals and later settled in an in-laws place in Warangal. Once during her visit to Thailand, she got to taste some rollover ice cream. Interestingly, a few weeks later, she came across an advertisement from a reputed Bangalore-based rollover handcrafted ice cream company calling for expression of interest from potential franchisees. Warangal did not have any quality ice cream parlor. The company wanted the potential franchisees to invest 20 lakhs and 700 square feet space. Profits were to be shared in the 3 to 7 ratio between the company and the franchisee. Divya was excited but was wondering if rupees 20 lakhs was too much to invest. Further, she did not have the entire amount and was thinking of taking a loan. She inquired with the rollover franchises and found that a franchisee in Hyderabad had sales revenue varying between 5 and 6 lakh rupees per month with a profit margin. Hyderabad is 5 to 6 lakhs per month with a profit margin of 25 to 30%. Divya decided to go ahead. Warangal had three main areas: Kazipet, Jangaon, and Warangal. All areas were linked by good roads. Kazipet was the business area where most high end retail formats were located. It was also the education hub of the city. Important point about Kazipet. Jangaon, on the other hand, was a growing lower middle class business area, and Warangal was mostly residential. Like any town in India. Divya favored Kazipet. However, she soon encountered problems. Not only was it difficult to obtain space in Kazipet, but property rentals touched 30-40 rupees per square feet, as against Jangaon and Warangal where it was 15-20 per square feet. Divya's friend who lived in Jangaon told her that a few branded outlets were opening in Jangaon. It appeared to be the fastest growing market in Warangal with the highest percentage of teenagers. But Divya was not in favor of Jangaon. She hoped to target college going crowd of Kazipet. High real estate prices in Kazipet and lower estimate in Jangaon market, lower profitability in estimate in Jangaon market confused Divya. Which of the following options, if true, would most likely interest Divya to start a franchise? One can be clearly removed. We are looking for something that will interest her in starting a franchise. If franchises are shutting down, why will she invest? Right? What else? 4 and 5 are irrelevant. Just because she's getting a loan, a quick loan, the interest in the franchise will not be because she's getting a loan. If she's getting a loan, she can do something else also. And 4 is removed because doctors of the area do not consider. I mean, how do doctors uh, being there make a difference? How do doctors considering something? Ice cream sales are not driven by what doctors of the area think. So 1, 4, 5 are removed. Between 2 and 3, one of them is correct. Which one? So Likit says 2 and Deadman Room talks about 3. Hi Shivam, welcome to the session. Now, there is a problem with 3. The problem with 3, see, 2 has a very clear reason for starting it. If you can charge high prices for a product without losing customers, that means you can sell as much as you want. So you'll do as much as of that as possible. But the problem with 3 is her friend who runs the restaurant recently in Kazipet is doing good business. So if her friend is running a restaurant doing good business, why will she not run a restaurant then? Why a ice cream franchise? Why a different business? When you know that one a business is doing well there, why a different business? There's no sense. And that's why 3 is not right. Deadman Room and Constancy. The correct answer here is 2. This is a kind of a trap here, which is telling you, or this is kind of feeding your incorrect thinking in this, And you'll see I mean, if you look through the cases in that, you'll realize that barely in 20% of the cases these kind of options happen where you are stuck between two cases. Otherwise, you will see that questions are normally pretty simple. So try to think about this one. This last question we'll do. Which of the following is least likely to demotivate Divya? That means most likely to motivate. Very clearly, option two, positive direct angle to that. If the rollover franchise in Hyderabad is making huge profits, it's good for her. It will motivate her. कि हम भी कर लेंगे. Warangal is close to Hyderabad. Similar states, similar markets, right? So we'll continue this session tomorrow with the next two questions. The next two questions require a little bit of mathematical analysis, numerical thinking here, which I'll show you, and we'll move on with more questions of this. Just to remind you, I'm also on Unacademy Plus, and if you want to do some of my courses which I'm running on Unacademy Plus, I'm running a course, specifically course, an 8-hour course on decision making, happening between 24th to 27 December for the ZAT people going for the ZAT. And this I'll be taking at least the important questions from the last 5-7 years of the ZAT exam. So 24 to 27 December, that course is coming up. For CAT 2020, I'm starting a new course in January 2020. That is a course, a practice course in quantitative aptitude from my side, along with Meenakshi ma'am's English. And I'm also running a DILR course right now, as we speak, on the Unacademy Plus. So in case you want to do some of these courses and also other courses by other top educators like Patrick D'Souza, Bharat Gupta, Meenakshi Upadhyay ma'am, and so on, you can join Unacademy Plus on the subscription model. And if you do decide to join Unacademy Plus, you can use my promo code Arun M Sharma, and this promo code will give you a 10% discount on the existing fees of Unacademy Plus. So do use this promo code while you are registering for the subscription, and you can take 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months subscription. And the best part of Unacademy Plus is that once you subscribe, you got access to all the teachers. And of course, I'm going to be there with you for the whole year, and there are going to be other teachers who are very experienced and very distinct teaching you. So you can actually give up all your thoughts or all your worries about your prep on an academy once on Unacademy Plus once you join there. So this is the promo code. As I said, we'll give you a 10% discount. And I hope you enjoyed the session. ZAT decision making is very, very simple. It's very, very straight. As I said, only 20% questions. If you look through the last few years, only 10 to 20% questions will create problems for you between options. Otherwise, it's actually a straight thing. Yeah, Shubham. In Unacademy Plus, you can access any teacher's video, any teacher's live class, as well as recorded video lectures. So, and then because of this ease of solving decision making, you can actually target a 15 plus score in decision making out of 21, and that'll go halfway, that'll take you halfway to the 30-35 mark that you need for the XLRI qualification, right? Fine. So, no, you join, if you join Unacademy Plus, you got access to all educators, Shubham. You don't have to join separate educators. All my courses will be open. All Bharat Gupta's courses, all Manoj Mahajan's courses, Meenakshi Upadhyay's courses. You name the educator, every educator is open. You just have to, it's like Netflix. Once you subscribe, you don't have to bother about subscribing individually for an individual movie. You can watch what you want, right? Chalo. So with that, I'll wind up. I hope you guys had a nice experience today, I'll wind up with this. Thank you so much.